Okay, so if you've seen my last video, you'll know how to take these smoke photographs. We did a live action video. And this is one of the pictures from that video. And I'm going to show you just how to give it a little bit of a clean and tidy up. Now, this is exactly how it came off the camera, nothing done to it at all. As you can see, it's got a few areas of problems. It's got a sort of green patch up here, and it's kind of streaky lines and a few spots. That's all perfectly normal. It's not a problem to tidy up either. Let's go through the steps. First of all, we're going to have a look at the levels to try and get a pure black background. Now, we did pretty well here. That background is super black thanks to the technique we used to photograph it. But if yours isn't spot on black, you can probably just darken it down a little bit by moving the black slider, that's the one on the left-hand side, in towards the middle. Don't go too far, of course, because it will kind of ruin the effect. But we'll just bring it in just a little bit like that. Now that's taken care of a lot of the smaller problems, but this big area of green here I don't like, so I'm going to get myself a paintbrush, make sure I've got black as my foreground colour, and just paint that area in. And perhaps that little line as well. And we'll get our brush a little bit smaller and we'll just take care of those little white bits. Now these little white bits are little bits of dust that was floating around in the atmosphere, and they've just been picked up by the flash of the camera. And we'll take away these extra bits as well, so our little tiny bit of smoke stays within the area of the screen. A couple of other nice little touches we can do here. Where our little incense stick just drops off the bottom of the screen, I'll get a nice big brush and we'll just put a click down there just to darken that edge down. So again, it just darkens it down at the edge of the screen. Similarly up here where the smoke is getting closer to the edge, a click there will put a little bit of black over that, and again just darken those areas down just to keep the centre of interest on this bright part in the middle. Colour-wise, smoke, well, it tends to be white, a little bit of blue sometimes, and even occasionally brown. As you can see here, we've got a bit of blue and white. But if you want a more colourful picture, then you can do that by using an adjustment layer. I'm going to use the Hue Saturation Adjustment layer, and I'm going to click on the Colorize box down here. Now that'll put a colour over the whole picture, normally this lovely red colour. If you don't like the colour, of course, you can shift it by moving the hue slider around. I'm going to try and find a more of a bluey tone, I think, because I kind of like that blue tone of smoke. See, somewhere around about there, and we'll bump up the saturation to really get a blue colour. Another thing I like to do is to come back down to the layers and drop the opacity of that adjustment layer down to about 50%. It means you can still get a little bit of colour variation going on there. It's a subtle thing, but it does normally add to the picture. The only trouble with using this technique is if you've got the tip of the incense stick in the picture, that's going to take on the colour of your adjustment layer as well. So the reason we're working on an adjustment layer is we can get our black paintbrush, click there, and bring the colour of that incense stick back through. And that looks better because it's got a more colour range than simply the blue of the smoke. Now, one other thing you might see on smoke pictures is rather than being set against a black background, they're sometimes set against a white background. Now, that's not done in the photography stage, that's always done in the computer stage. So what we're going to do is get ourselves the crop tool and just crop out the incense stick, because that's going to just, well, it's not going to work if we leave that in. So we'll just go for a nice tight crop, something like that. Lovely. And we're going to click on our background layer, that's the main image, and come up to Image, Adjustments, and Invert. So by inverting the colours, our black background becomes the opposite, which is white, and our colours will shift as well. So if you don't want this purpley colour that it's now gone, I can come back to my adjustment layer here and shift the colour of that to find anything in the colour range that I'd actually like. So I'm still looking for that kind of more blue tone. Yeah, probably around about there somewhere. So by working with adjustment layers, you can work non-destructively with the colour, and if you want a pure white background, remember, do it in Photoshop and not in the camera.